Good evening. This is the Athens City Shade Tree Commission meeting for May 18th, 2017. We have no tree permit or right-of-way issues, and so we'll move straight to Title 37 Landscape Ordinance issues. I believe we have a representative of Menards here to present the plan. Would you like to come up to the podium, introduce yourself, and explain where you think we are in the process?
Good evening, I'm Tom O'Neill with Menard Incorporated, 5101 Menard Drive, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, 54703. I'm here on behalf of Menards this evening to discuss the latest iteration of landscaping plan that has been presented for Shade Tree Commission consideration. In the last few months, we have been embarked on a series of iterations of landscaping plans. We've been trying to be cognizant of the concerns of the Shade Tree Commission and listen to those. And with each iteration of plan, we think we've gotten closer to meeting the intent of what has been expressed to us. With the latest plan, we think we've gotten to a point where, from a Menard perspective, from a layout perspective, we've maxed out our landscaping capabilities for the project. But that's come a long way. Mm-hmm. So to demonstrate what we've done here over these past few months, I just wanted to kind of go through some of the revisions that we've made to get to where we're at today. With the latest plan that we have in front of you, we've added from the initial plans additional perimeter trees around the outside perimeter, whether it be East State Street or the west and south perimeters of the Menard store site plan. We've increased the landscaping around the stormwater detention areas, both to the west as well as to the southeast of the Menard store site plan. We've added an additional series of internal landscaping islands inside the parking lot, in the middle of the parking lot. We've exchanged all the ornamental trees that we may have had on some early iterations of landscaping plan for those that meet the large definition under the code. We have maybe cleared up the plan and clarified some issues in that we've demonstrated the non-disturbance areas on the plan a little better. So that includes both the area to the west and indicates how we're intending non-disturbance of the stream that's located to the west. All the way to the east end of the property, we're indicating or showing the area of the non-disturbance of the stream on the east end of the property. And then in the north central, northeast area of the site, you'll find a much larger non-disturbance area. And that is the preservation of a fairly large wetland area, and all of the trees, the existing growth that's within that, would intend to be preserved moving forward. So that area is an area of non-disturbance as well. So with that, we think we've gotten to a point where we've maxed out the landscaping that we can provide on the site. We've demonstrated our intent to try and get closer to meeting code, and we would ask for your recommendation moving forward on the plan. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Let me summarize where I think we are, and I agree that you've made it much clearer now as to what is going to be preserved on the site, and we thank you for that, because saving trees that are already existing is certainly much preferable to us than simply tearing them down and planting fresh. So we try and give as much credit as we can for leaving trees like that. And what I do in the calculation is I take that area, and bearing in mind our comprehensive plan and our Title 37 is written with the mind of having a 40% tree coverage for the city, then essentially what I do is I take that area that you're going to leave undisturbed, multiply by 2.5, that's where the 1 over 4, 40%, and come out with an area that's now coming into compliance with Title 37. So at that point, I can say, well, this much of your site is covered. In fact, if you'd left 40% of your site, and I'm just doing this to try and clarify for other people what it is we do, if you'd actually left 40% of the site undisturbed, we could have said, that's it, you've met the requirement. We realise that you're not going to have the trees in the right places, but because of the limitations of the way your business operates, we're going to give you a variance for that, and that's really what we would have preferred to have done in this case. However, what you've done is you've added some significant numbers of trees now around the property and into the parking lots. And so what I'm seeing now is you've got 174 large shade trees that you're going to plant. I would give you credit for the non-disturb areas of 187 trees, and that would leave us with this 370 trees that we consider to be a deficit on this property. Now, the way that the Title 37 is written is that if we find that there's no way for you to operate your business and be in compliance in terms of total numbers of trees, we can allow you then to buy trees and put them into a tree bank for the city. This clearly leaves you without the obligation to maintain now 370 trees, which really should have been there. That obligation is going to be transferred to the city. But at least this way, the city will get the trees that we're responsible for making sure that it has. So with all that said, I think this plan can come into compliance. I think if you're willing to go with the option that you can buy those trees, and as long as I get agreement from 2/3 of my colleagues here, that means at least two out of three of us have got to agree with me on this one, then we can then move forward with that plan. So have you got observations? Or
what's that?
Do you understand what I've been saying? And
I do,
okay.
And we would be amenable to that.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, the first thing we've got to do in this process is I've got to ask, are there any other questions that the tree commissioners have got?
This hasn't anything to do with the number of trees, but I did notice that you, again, added back in the burning bush and the barberry, both of which are invasive species.
I'll bring that up with my landscape.
Yeah, we would prefer that they're not planted.
That's no one can tell you not to, but
Yeah.
it would be helpful to the world if you did.
Yeah. Yeah. Other questions?
No further questions for me at this point. I appreciate the work that's been
Okay.
done.
Yes.
Well, the first thing I've got to do then is see if we've got...
I do
You
have
got
a
a question?
question.
Okay, good.
I am not able to read this small print
Okay.
of the types of trees. Are those primarily large shade trees?
What I did, I went through them and I checked, and I make a count of 174 large shade trees.
Okay.
There are some shrubs in there and some small trees, and I've not included those.
Okay.
Okay. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Any other questions? The first thing we've got to do is, as I said, I've got to get a 2/3 majority of the commissioners here to agree that we're going to let you have this variance where you're permitted to buy out the trees and put them in the tree bank.
I agree.
You agree with that?
I
okay,
agree.
so we've got that far. At this stage, we're then to the point of, do we approve of this plan as presented,
Yes.
as I've described it?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Yes. We have approved your plan.
Okay, thank you, Chair Ingram.
Okay.
Ladies, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Do you have any questions at all?
No, I do not.
Okay.
When can I see the meeting minutes?
If I get the Facebook link tonight, I will try and write them up this weekend before I will go away on vacation.
Fair enough. I need those, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wish you well in your business. Okay, moving along to the next item. I don't have a report from Ron Lucas. However, I've sent a question to Ron because, and I don't know if, Jennifer, you've got any information on this, or maybe Rick. I haven't seen any plans for the Stimpson Avenue Roundabout project, and it appears that there are some removals of trees going on there to quite a large extent. And if I look at the picture, the only thing I've got is a picture on the city website, which clearly shows trees being left on the west side of what will be the road going in to Ohio University.
I'll check on that.
And so I'm puzzling as to why that's happened.
Okay.
Where is this,
Yep.
Dan? Where is this?
This is the project that the city's got with the university is to put a roundabout on Stimpson Avenue,
Yes.
and the road that links to the
McKinley, they're calling it.
North McKinley, yeah, that's right. On the west side of that, there is a green area that's full of trees and other shrubs that provides a green barrier between the road and the commercial properties. And now half of the trees have been removed
Really?
along there, and you can see a rusty chain link fence. It really isn't very attractive at all.
Plus it doesn't,
And
it doesn't
Is that next
absorb
to the
any.
Jackie O's tap room property?
it's towards the rear of there. The trees that have been left are right next to the Jackie O property. But I don't know whether they're going to come all the way along and try and clear out all the trees. As I say, we haven't seen any plans, and my impression was that trees were to be left there.
Yeah, those fences don't absorb any CO2, provide any oxygen.
No. Now, there was a question raised about trees on Charles Street, or at the end of Charles Street, I believe. Ron, I think, did intervene with with the organisation, and there was to be a meeting, I believe. Was it this week?
Monday, they had a meeting on Monday.
Monday, yeah. I haven't got a report.
Oh, it's not the end of Charles Street. It's way up the street that the meeting was about.
Yes.
Well, it's actually Hillcrest.
Well,
the property is on
I was
Charles
there.
Street,
Yeah, I know.
but the trees are on.
In fact, I walked by there this
Hillcrest.
morning, and if I'd known you lived there, I would have come over and said,
So you went to the meeting?
yeah.
And
Okay.
Anne was there also.
What was the result of the meeting?
No, Anne wasn't there. It was at the meeting that we brought up that she would be a good source.
Oh,
And then I couldn't reach her before. I tried to call her all day and couldn't reach her. And so I talked to her Tuesday, and she agreed to be a source.
I
And,
said Anne, but I was thinking Lee.
oh, Lee. Yes, Lee did go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, it was Lee that one of her friends, Master Gardener, asked her to go, and
Okay.
Emily, I think. Did she ask you?
Yeah, but I wasn't able to
So I
make
was
it.
the second choice.
I'm sure you were a fine choice for that. So we don't know what's going to happen going forward then. But,
Well, they're stopped right now because there's federal law against taking down any trees this time of year by publicly funded organizations because
Okay.
of bird migration. Also because it's not good for the tree, but
Okay.
so they can't do anything right now. But they seemed
interesting.
open to suggestions, and I
Good.
gave him a list of benefits that I'd gotten from the Tree Academy, and a list of alternatives to topping trees, and a suggestion of people who are qualified to make those decisions. So
Yeah.
anyway, we'll see what happens.
Okay, very good.
And
but
I
Anne-
think organizations like that could use some more education.
Oh, yes, yes, I agree. Yeah.
And that's what I thought. I thought connecting those two would be a really good idea
Yes.
for future stuff. And also it'd be nice for them to have a better introduction of their clients into a neighborhood than making everybody pissed off.
Yeah, yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah.
Forgot about the recording.
Are there any other observations on that property at all?
It was obvious they didn't know anything about it. They just hired somebody that they found.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the limit of the what would appear in Ron's report. I don't have any other business to raise. Are there any questions people want me to raise with
Well,
Ron?
the same reason I ask about the end of the street is because that still stands out.
Oh, it's still
Issue.
standing open, and I will remember to put it into the minutes again as a request. Yes.
I did have a citizen ask me tonight on my way to the meeting about, the front page article today. What are we doing about the ash trees? So
Cutting them down.
as we move forward, I think it'd be helpful if perhaps Ron could speak some to the city's plans for replacing the ash trees as they come down.
Yeah, I read the article, and I think it did give a pretty good summary of what's happening, and it did describe the process that briefly that Ron is trying to follow, and that is that we are taking trees down as they begin to decline and become a hazard. And then his plan is to replace all trees that we take down each year, and plus one at least.
Is there anything available, any resource available to people who don't have city trees?
ODNR, and I think there was something else mentioned in there as well.
I haven't read it yet, I just got it.
There was it somebody from the county? Or from the Extension Service?
Extension Service.
Extension Service. So OSU's
think it's Mr.
Extension
Brown.
Service had
That's
There you go. You're the resource. Yeah, but I felt it was a very good article. I think they plan to do a second article where they're going to talk to people at the university about what they're doing, and they're an example of where some trees they're trying to save some trees by using an insecticide on the trees to
See how it
preserve
works,
them. But it costs money, and you've got to do it maybe not every year, but you've got to do it every few years.
The one across from me was cut down this last week, and the woman had just bought the house, so I don't know whether she knew what she was getting into. Mm-hmm. Hopefully she had enough money in her penny bag to pay for it. I don't know.
Yep.
That was expensive. It was a huge tree.
Yes, it can be expensive, yes. Yeah, we have not, as a city, planted any ash trees for many years now, because we've known that this is
It was coming along.
was
yeah.
coming, yes. Yeah.
I didn't realize how small it was. Half an inch is all it is. This is.
Yeah, I was surprised how small the holes are as well, because
It's hard to see.
I
They're
remember
very
when I looked for them
D-shaped.
and found some, they were this 3 to 5 millimeter size. So that's
And-
less
and
than
the
a
insect,
quarter of an inch.
The insects themselves are very tiny.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah,
I
they
think
look
this is
big in these
unmarked.
pictures, but
This looks like a monster. I
Yes.
guess. It's only about that big.
yeah.
Half
Anyway.
inch.
Yes, I did check out, and they are significantly smaller than the usual boreholes that you find in
Yes.
trees from insects.
And there's another rather common green bug that it can be confused with
Oh,
too,
okay.
which stays on the ground and causes no trouble.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. There's a green beetle, isn't there? That
Yeah.
scurries around. Yes. Yeah. Well, as usual, if they move quickly, they're probably good ones. So, anything else? If not, we've got the minutes of the last meeting. I think I've found all the typos in there. It was quite a lengthy meeting, I think, that one. I noticed there's a video up of Ron Lucas at the Arbor Day piece he did at Morrison
what now?
Gordon. There's a video of this Arbor Day
Oh, I didn't
presentation.
see it.
It's in YouTube. It's in the YouTube channel for the city.
Oh, okay. So I make a motion to approve.
Oh, thank you, Nancy.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any objections to approving the minutes? Hearing none, we have minutes of the next meeting, minutes of the last meeting. Our next meeting is June 8th, 2017.
Back on schedule, huh?
I don't think there's any issues with that with that date. I hope not. We'll try and keep to meeting on the second Thursday of the month. You're going to check your calendar just to see what we've got.
Well, I wouldn't have made the meeting last week.
Oh, no, I wouldn't either.
June 8th, yeah.
Okay, very good. In that case, we are adjourned. Thank you.